This is the plaintiff, Stephen Ziza. He says he purchased a motorcycle from the defendant, and the louse hid and misrepresented the condition of the bike. He's tried to contact him, but the slimy guy won't respond to him. So he's doing what the law allows and suing the crook right here and right now for the $5,000 it's going to cost him to repair the thing. This is the defendant, Lance. He says he told the plaintiff the bike needed some tender loving care because it was a bit older. The guy loaded the bike into his pickup, paid him, and drove off into the night. Now, a few months later, he's complaining about the bike's condition and demanding all this money from him after he's done who knows what with it. Hardy har har har. He's accused of selling a bum bike.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket, the plaintiff bought a motorcycle from the defendant and says the chopper was not as advertised. But the defendant says he was absolutely honest. It's the case of Chopper. He hardly knew her.
Thank you, Douglas. Stephen Ziza?
Ziza, yes.
Okay. You are suing Lance, you've asked to be referred to only by your first name, for $5,000. According to you, your damages exceed that regarding a 1992 motorcycle that you bought from him for $1,200.
That's correct.
Okay. So why aren't you suing for $1,200 if that's what you paid for it?
I'm suing to get it into the condition that he had represented it as.
All right. So tell me what happened.
So I purchased it on January 24th, and I bought it on eBay after contacting him a couple of times through eBay messaging system.
Okay. Do you have those messages?
I do have those messages.
Okay. And do you have the original ad?
No.
Okay. Do you have the original ad?
No, ma'am, but I have a brief description of the bike that was placed on the ad.
Okay. In other words, what I'd like to see are any of the representations he made to you before you bought the bike.
Okay.
Okay. All right. And then can I see the description of the bike? Okay. So you ask, does it run properly and is it ready to ride? Question mark. Does transmission shift smoothly, i.e. clutch is in good shape? Do you have the title for it, and if so, is it clean? And to which he responds, title is clean, runs well, clutch is good. Will need brake pads soon, and battery is not the best. Lasts for a few weeks, but needs trickle charger if sitting for more than a few weeks. Otherwise, in good shape and ready to ride. Okay, so did you see it before you got it on eBay? All right, so then you go over to pick it up, and do you test drive it or anything?
He had told me that he was putting it on the trickle charger a couple of days beforehand so that when I got there, it would be able to start and I would be able to test drive it. And when I got there, he said that it didn't really take and that the battery was bad. The signs were of a bad battery when I got there. The headlight worked, everything functioned per se, and then when you went to start it, it would just click as if the battery was low and the headlight just completely turned off.
Right,
So
but that deprives you of the ability to see if everything else runs, right?
Yes.
Okay, so why didn't you just wait and have it seen by a mechanic or something?
Because I drove about 2 hours through the traffic, and then I also didn't want to forfeit my deposit at the time.
Well, you wouldn't. I mean, if you went there and the thing didn't run, you know you wouldn't have forfeited your deposit. Your father's a lawyer, right?
Yeah.
Your father sent him a lawyer letter saying, I want either the money to get this functioning the way you promised, or I want his money back.
Yes.
Okay, so you know you wouldn't have forfeited that original money. It's just that you drove all the way over there, and then maybe the thing looked good to you. How did it look? Was it pretty?
For the year.
What's wrong with the thing?
Ma'am, as I explained to the plaintiff, ma'am, my wife and I drove the bike in the summer on the weekends, and I can assure you, I wouldn't have rode my wife on the bike if I didn't feel the bike was up to par. The bike is an old bike; it was over 20 years old. Yes, it needed some TLC. When we put the bike on eBay, we put it on for a $0 bid.
What does that mean?
Well, we started off at zero, at $1 for the bike. If the bid would have reached $150, ma'am,
You would have had to sell it for $150?
My wife wanted me to get rid of the bike. So
Why does she want you to get rid of the bike?
I have 3 small children. Well, I have 3 teenagers, and it was just, you know, something that's always. She's
Are they
always
small
been,
children or are they teenagers? Are they teenagers?
they're
You'd want them out
babies
the
to me,
door. They're
ma'am.
not, okay, they're babies to you. I don't know.
Yes, so-
mine seem like grown-ups who hang around all the time and never pay for anything.
So
That's how mine seemed to me, my 3 teenagers.
It's always
So
been-
she had enough of the donor cycle issue and she wanted you to move on
Yeah,
and
so
grow up.
again, I just wanted to part with it. So whatever, and I was happy with when it reached the bid, and I think that it was worth it. You know, again, it needed TLC.
All right, so you take possession of the bike and what do?
I went ahead and I bought a battery, and I bought the battery on January 28th, and that's when I had started working on it. I put the battery in, and it was turning over, but it wouldn't start. So then I was looking into some of it, and the spark plugs were definitely fouled. So I had bought new spark plugs, and then at that point, I'd gotten it to start, but it backfired extremely rough from the rear cylinder, and then it also overheated as I was working on it. And then I led that to a bad fan switch, which was about $100 part, and then this is where...
I'm sorry, are you a mechanic?
No.
You dabble?
No, I work on many things, including my car. It's a 1984 Pontiac Grand Prix. So
Well,
I
you're
get
the
my
kind of guy who
hands.
should be able to look at it and see this. Like you're more informed than the average buyer.
So is buying a used vehicle like a motorcycle or a car on eBay too risky?
I think so.
Why?
Because you don't know what you're getting. It's a picture and they can tell you anything you want.
Well, what's the difference between buying a car on eBay and, say, going to a private seller's house?
You know, maybe it could be different than the picture you see on eBay, and the house you could see more, you can see the inside of it.
So you actually can feel and touch and smell and all the things.
Yeah.
Got your point. Going inside the courtroom.
Here's what I need to hear from you. What specific warranty did he make? Because when you buy a used vehicle like this, whether it's a car or a motorcycle, it's an as-is sale by default, as I'm sure your dad explained to you. It's an as-is sale. So he has to have made to you some specific warranty that he's violated. And it can't be stuff like runs good or runs well. It can't be, that's not a specific warranty. Clutch is great. That's kind of a specific warranty. Was there something wrong with the clutch?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you have any proof that the clutch was bad?
From just me.
Look, I feel bad for you. But you bought a 20-year-old bike on eBay without a mechanic looking at it. And from a guy who said the following: title's clean, it was. Clutch is good. You haven't shown me any evidence that it isn't. We'll need brake pad soon. Battery's not the best. Lasts for a few weeks, but needs trickle charger sitting more than a few weeks. Otherwise, good shape and ready to ride.
Your Honor?
You can't sue on an as-is sale because it's not in good shape. Otherwise, the exception that you want me to find swallows the rule. I can't do anything for you.
Okay.
All right. Good luck to you, sir. A verdict is for the defendant.
Well, once again, an as-is sale turns out to be exactly what it is, an as-is sale. You understand the law there?
Yeah, I do.
What did you expect the judge to do for you?
I expected to either get the money to put it in the condition that he had represented due to it being misrepresented, or just for me to be able to give the bike back and then just get my money back.
Well, as-is doesn't work that way. Why did you have it looked at before you bought it?
Because it was represented as being in decent shape, and then I had asked the detailed questions.
We've had this
before
case
the
so
sale.
many times, and the outcome's almost always the same.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, right around the corner this way. All right, step on in here and tell me, if you had to put yourself in his shoes, how would you feel?
Well, sir, again, I gave the gentleman an opportunity to come back the following week or whenever he could without purchasing the bike at that time, and I would put a battery on it, but he would reimburse me for the battery, and at that time he could start it and ride it. It was his decision to take it. And I told him that he could come back, that he didn't have to purchase it at that time. He made that decision. All I can say is that I'm glad that Your Honor ruled in my favor.
What do you think, Harvey?
You know, we always talk about warranties on this show. And, you know, it is so important when you buy something, you have the power before you plunk down the money to protect yourself and to write down what your expectation is. When somebody says runs good, that's not a warranty. When you think about it, it's just like puffing. Oh, it runs good. What does that mean? It's too subjective. Make them say the brakes are in good condition, the transmission's in good condition. Be as specific as you can. If you are specific and you get it in writing, I am telling you, it will protect you more than you would possibly think.